Hi everyone, my name is Denise and Valentin from the Climate and Clean Air Coalition Secretariat.
Hi, my name is Makoto Kato from the Overseas Environmental Cooperation Center, Japan. I'm heading Initiative on Fluorocarbon Lifecycle Management, and also I am co-lead for the Cooling Hub of the CCAC.
So right now we are in Bangkok, Thailand at the meeting of the parties, and I actually wanted to just have a conversation with Makoto-san because it's a very interesting discussions on life cycle refrigerant happening. Life cycle refrigerant management is something that Japan has been doing domestically for many years, but in the last few years has been elevating this in the international stage and working with the CCAC and other initiatives and partners as well. Why has Japan decided to actually advance this and elevate it into the international stage?
Yeah. First of all, in the Montreal Protocol, we started on management of ODS. And then nowadays, we are also talking about net zero emissions reduction and carbon neutrality. And what we have seen as the success of the Montreal Protocol, I think it's a beautiful thing that the upstream and also the management and the control of consumption, production, consumption, and export import, well, that is actually a very successful part of refrigerant management. Mm-hmm. But this time, we are also looking at from the carbon neutrality and net zero emission context. We really need to address banks that are trapped in cooling equipment. So that is something we have done in our country. But at the same time, we also want to see many our partner countries are joining. And we are really grateful that our partners, including the CCAC, is making a great effort to mainstream this agenda in the international field.
Thank you. And Makoto-san, you are the co-lead representing Japan in the CCAC Cooling Hub together with the Maldives. And in the last year or so, we've been also doing some activities to promote life cycle refrigerant management. Can you tell us more about from the perspective of Japan and the IFL Secretariat on how this collaboration can be strengthened and how others out there perhaps can actually collaborate with us on this topic?
Yeah. I remember at the beginning, when we started talking about life cycle refrigerant management, honestly speaking, not much attention was paid. So that it was kind of a very minor issue or something outside of the Montreal Protocol and the Kigali Amendment. But gradually, people started paying attention to it. Primarily, because what we explained, this is a gap, as I mentioned, towards the carbon neutrality and net zero emissions. Well, we have huge gap, and also we have a huge potential of mitigation impact by addressing fluorocarbons and refrigerant banks. So that is actually the beginning. And I think the CCAC has a really good foundation for us because we have done the success promoting Kigali Amendment and brought to success. I think we have a track record of this kind of success. And I think now people in the CCAC, countries, international organizations, and also private sector's representatives, so they want to have something similar and even more in the context of life cycle refrigerant management. What is happening in the CCAC? Well, we have done a discussion to mainstream life cycle refrigerant management in for example, Montreal Protocol MOPS, and also UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement. Also, understanding life cycle refrigerant management is very important because this is a new jargon and the new areas of work. So that in 2022, we have jointly published resource book on for policymakers on the life cycle refrigerant management, so that we have more than 20 cases of good practices in different countries, including A5 developing countries. And also, we are going further to the on-the-ground project. Recently, we have initiated a project to support Vietnamese government to track HFCs and ODS in their cylinders to collect and also reclaim and also destroy used refrigerant. So this is, we're very comprehensive, but we started from a very small part, but then now it is growing and growing. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, very good. And I also just wanted to react that I think, part of the reason why the management of banks is was receiving little attention before is that because I was in the National Ozone Unit in the Philippines 20 years ago, and it has been a known problem, like how to destroy or what do we do with these ODS banks. And I think it was because more of an acceptance that developing countries, we just cannot do anything about it. We don't have the money, we don't have the capacity, so just let it into the air. But before, it was just really more of like an ozone layer issue. But nowadays, we know that, actually, aside from damaging the ozone layer, that's going to be really very bad for the climate as well. And it will cause, we're already experiencing extreme heat. And it's now a matter of like really saving lives. We are in a climate emergency. So I think just to react on really the need for countries to do something about it. But again, the financing question remains a big question for everybody. Like, the multilateral fund is there and it's now supporting countries to develop inventories of ODS banks as well as developing national strategies on how to address them. But the large-scale implementation, the multilateral fund does not have that money. How do we do this? What do you think is the path forward on financing LRM?
Thank you. I think that's a very big remaining question to tackle. First of all, for the cost of life cycle refrigerant management, you have a cost for recovery, logistics and transport, and then also like sorting out what is reclaimable, what is not reclaimable, and actually then logistics and transport. Then we have also destruction, and then to do this we have capital investment cost and also like operational investment, operational cost. So to cover this, as you mentioned, for like one single finance may not be enough. And also like because we have a ramification of different things, and that is something we really need to work together and combining different forces and different resources. One thing in our country is advancing domestically is more about the polluter pays principle, so that the users like myself, or when I dispose air conditioner or my refrigerators, we're actually buying coupons and pay it. So this is one business model. Another business model is extended producer's responsibility. In our mobile aircon car air conditioners, because cars are usually resold to many times, so that it's very difficult to track. So that in that case, we have applied extended producer's responsibility. Actually, the cost is already included on the upstream when manufacturers are producing the products. But finally, that is actually managed at the end of the life cycle. So that is something we have. But at the same time, multilateral fund, I think there is a certain role to play. Plus international financing, such as carbon finance, and also maybe something like issuance of green bonds or any other things. But one thing I really strongly recommend is that whatever finance you're looking at, you're mobilizing, transparency is very important. Without transparency, robust measurement, reporting, verification, we cannot actually, mobilize finance.
Mm-hmm.
So that we need data tracking, we need a credibility of actions, and that is actually covered and supported credible financing, including different kind of sources, maybe carbon finances as well, so that I understand there are lots of questions and lots of things that are still unclear. But one thing is that, well, we should work on transparency, measurement, reporting, verification, and that will lead us to the next step of lifecycle refrigerant management implementation.
Thank you very much, Makoto-san. It's really very exciting. And now, after the workshop, there is discussions on what the Montreal Protocol should do next on LRM. Let's wait for that in the coming days.
Let's work together.
Bye.
Bye.